Motley Fool tells us how much money we need to retire comfortably. Comfortably? Comfortably? I have my orange jail suit. Every time I wear the orange, people say, looks like you're in a prison. But in prisons, they have that beautiful moo cow behind them. In prison, look at that hair. Look at that hair on the top of his head. Tell me that cow was not the best thing ever. Old Betsy. All right. Let's read this article because we can all laugh at the expense of Motley Fool. And I'm not anti-Motley Fool. I guess these articles gives me, they regurgitate stuff that I can regurgitate too, because I do have new people on the channel, and as such, we get to tell the people the truth behind retirement planning. All right, so here we go. This is from Kaylee Hagan, and I'm not trying to bash Kaylee. Please don't take this wrong. I get it. She's got to put an article out there. I get it. There's just so much fallacies in here. Let's see what her bio is. Look, and I've been writing about personal finance since 2013. She does her best to keep it interesting and jumps at any opportunity to learn something new. All right. I know this is going to sound like a bash this lady. I'm not. Because there's 1,000 million financial advisors who say the same damn thing. I hate it. But she does do something right, but then she stops. All right. So let's, Finn, would you? This dog is crazy. It's like a mini horse, this guy. How much do you need to comfortably retire? Do you need $1 million, $2 million, more? The most common rule of thumb is that a person will need approximately 80% of their pre-retirement income to sustain their lifestyle. However, there are several factors to consider, and not all this income you will need will come from your savings. With that in mind, here's a guide. One important note is that when it comes to determining your retirement number, is that it isn't about deciding on a certain amount of savings, but it's for example, the most common retirement goal among Americans is $1 million, but this is faulty. The most important factor is determine how much you need in retirement. That's where she gets it right. So she's saying income, I would say expenses, but she's spot on. How much will you need to retire? All right. So will a $1 million savings balance allow you to create enough income forever? Maybe or maybe not. So how much will you need? With that in mind, you should expect to need about 80% of your pre-retirement income. That's so freaking stupid. So freaking stupid. I hate that. So we're just going to use your old buddy Josh here. And first of all, we're going to come see what this guy is doing because he's eating something he shouldn't be eating. And now there he goes. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. Finn, everyone wants to say hello. Look, watch this. Oh. I sound like Marty McFly. Right. So you got your old buddy Josh here. All right. I'm 50 years old. I got a big fat mortgage. I got 4 kids. My debt's all paid off now except for my mortgage. But let's see. What else we got? We got property taxes on this house. Auto insurance on this for the kids who are driving. And the 2 boys aren't even driving yet. What else we got to pay? Health insurance, right? And so all this stuff. None of those things I'll take into retirement. None of them. So if I'm 50 years old and I'm planning on 80% of my current income, but just for simplicity, say it's $100,000, and I need $80,000 a year, none of that will go into retirement. I don't contribute to a 401k, but I do contribute to investing. That won't go in there. I do pay FICA taxes. That won't go in there. Income taxes, the whole thing, that won't go in there. Instead, what's going to happen is I'm going to reduce my mortgage because I will have none. I'll reduce my property taxes because I will I'll get the hell out of Fulton County, Georgia, as you should do. I won't have the same auto expenses simply because we won't have 4 kids on auto insurance, and my insurance rates are through the roof right now. Our healthcare will be a whole hell of a lot different than it is now. And the irony of it all, I just talked to a guy today. He's a right-winger just like I am, and he lives in Texas. He's paying, I think he said $50 a month between he and his wife on Obamacare. So who knows? Potentially my healthcare expenses will go down under Obamacare because he keeps his income threshold below $68,000 so he can qualify for subsidies. Anyway, so your retirement, Josh, is going to be different than my working Josh, not just in terms of older and whatnot, but from an expenditure perspective. So then you got to calculate how much do you need in expenditures. And the guys just talked to, we said, $10,000 a year. I think it was $10,000 a year in travel, right? But he's got no debt, man, none. None. Everything he has, he's already paid for. It's all paid for. So you say, all right, $10,000 a year in travel, maybe a little bit of gifting here and there. I mean, but that's a whole different ball game than your pre-retirement, Josh. Hope that makes sense. So that's why I hate that, because it's completely foreign to reality. All right. The idea that once you retire, you'll be able to eliminate certain expenses. You'll no longer have to save for retirement. You might spend less on commuting expense and other expenses. Well, that's why the whole rule of thumb on 80% is just freaking stupid, man. You got to so what do you do then? So let's just say I move to I don't know, freaking Tennessee. I buy a $300,000 home in Tennessee. All right, the property tax are $1,500 a year. We'll just use that for example. All right, so sales taxes in Tennessee is high, but we don't spend that much as it is, because once the kids are out of the house, it's just gonna be me and Shar. What are we gonna do? Freaking in the dogs. The dog food, we're just not going to spend that much. So our sales tax will be quite low. Property tax, quite low. No income tax in Tennessee. Healthcare costs, quite low. I'm trying to think what else the other, air condition, lower because we have a smaller house. Heating bill would be lower because we have a smaller house, if that makes sense. I can't even... I can't even imagine what else. I'm just, without even really going down the list, you're thinking, what else am I going to spend money on? The travel, maybe. I get you. But, that can be budgeted as part of the budget. But that's a separate expense from just saying 80% pre-retirement income. Hope that makes sense. All right. Let's see. If you plan to travel frequently in retirement, you may want to aim for 90 to 100%. That's freaking stupid, man. Let's say consider yourself the typical retiree. Between you and your spouse, you currently have an annual income of $120,000. Based on the 80% principal, you need about $96,000 a year in annual income, which is $8K a month. All right, so we're going to say you get Social Security for what do they say? Continuing our example, let's say each spouse is expecting $1,500 a month in Social Security. All right, so if we have $120,000 a year of income, why in the good Lord's name would you only have $1,500 a month in Social Security? All right, so in this case, we don't have pensions. We need $1,500 a month in Social Security, and that means in this case, we're not even going to use a pension. So if they need $8,000 a month, they got $3,000 a month from Social Security. They need $5,000 a year from their portfolio. Now, $5,000 a month from their portfolio. All right, so that's $60,000 a year. All right, now I highly suspect that is silly, but that's what the idea would be. What I would say is let's go back into how much we need instead of what this is just saying, and that's the issue here. Now she's doing it right. She's saying if you need this money, where's it going to come from? And then she says we'll need a portfolio based on what? If you need $60,000 a year, you had $1 million, would I say you're fine? Yes, I would absolutely say you're fine. Would I sit there as specifically to you if you hired me to be your advisor and say you're fine? No, because I say, look, at the end of there's going to be some volatility and there's going to be some Monte Carlos, and I cannot go on the record of saying Joe Schmo is fine at taking a 6% distribution rate. But I would say, in reality, I'd say absolutely, man. I'm not going to say it. Hey, big boy. Hey. People right now are getting mad because they hear the dog. Spin! Boys, good dog, yeah. So I'm saying is at the end of the day, can you take 6% a year off your portfolio? Yes, absolutely. What that means, you got to put some guardrails, i.e. you need to tighten your belt, don't go on vacation when the markets fall. Yeah, absolutely. Common sense, man. Let's just use some common sense here. So use some common sense, get a gauge of your future retirement expenses, and start from there. Hope that helps. Love to hear your comments. Thanks now.